Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. I'm Gene Dow. Linda Stevens is here. And we were talking about term limits. We'll talk about that. I did want to mention, this is Weird Al. And I saw something the other day from one of our people that said apparently there's going to be a movie made of Weird Al's life.
Really?
And according to this person that texted me this information, Daniel Radcliffe is going to play Weird Al.
I can almost see that.
That's the Harry Potter guy.
Yeah.
So,
I
don't know. But
all right.
We'll see.
There may be a lot more to him than we ever thought. I'm not talking about Daniel. I'm talking about Al.
Weird Al.
Yeah.
Weird Al.
You know, because sometimes when you learn their background and their history and what they have done and what they were involved in or philanthropic or whatever, it changes your whole attitude of what you actually saw.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, they have a life behind that facade sometimes, and it's totally different. And then you are like, wow, they were really, you know, really a cool person with all that they've done. So we don't know. I mean, he could have been a slug for all we know yet. But
well, we'll find out.
Yes.
Well, before we went to the news break, we were kind of talking about the mayor's forum last night, which led to Linda's question.
Term limits.
Term limits.
And I only say that was because when Terry Hill was talking, he was said, you know, I've been on the council since, you know, 2005, and I thought, good God, that's when I moved here. And I'm thinking, that's a long time.
That's true.
You know, you really do know where all the bones are buried when you've been on that long.
Yeah.
Is that beneficial, or did anybody, and I'm not referencing just him now, I'm talking about now anybody that has been in any position. Nancy Pelosi, it's time to go. Go sit in the corner and knit something for your grandkids. Get out of there.
Yeah.
They become stagnant, and then it all becomes for their pocketbook and not for what the people could benefit from. People being us poor peons out here that are depending on those people. You know, just because you elect them, they can sell you the biggest wonderful thing there is. It doesn't mean that when they get up there that they're going to continue that. And I realize one person can't do it. You have to have everybody's cooperation to do anything that you say that you're going to do.
Right.
Because, like I said, they can feed you the biggest line of whatever when they're campaigning.
Right.
And you say, oh, yes, I want them in there. This is wonderful. This is exactly what I want. And then they get up there and they drink the Kool-Aid and you wonder, what happened? This is not what they said. This is not what they were about.
Yeah.
And then they keep getting reelected because you believe this line of whatever that they're feeding you. Is that beneficial to anybody? Or should they really have... I mean, I kind of think...
It's rare for these people to get... Now, it happens sometimes. You had the truck driver in New Jersey that took down the Democrat who was pretty high up in the Democrat ranks out of New Jersey. You had a former bartender in the Bronx
oh, God.
that took down a...
and that's a sad move that anybody made up there. Hope they have buyer's remorse.
So, no, I don't think they do. I think they love her. But it does happen, but it's rare.
Yes, very rare.
My concern has always been the government, city government. I don't know that you can apply the same standards to city government than you can do to the Congress or even to the state government. But my concern is that the federal government and even the state government has gotten so entwined and so involved in every aspect of everybody's life. I mean, look at the poor school boards.
Yeah.
And how limited they are in what they can and cannot do because everything's run by Santa Fe.
And I think it's wrong.
If you don't do this, we're going to withhold federal dollars. If you don't do that, we're going to, inspect you and.
So you have an axe hanging over your head, basically.
All the time. And so changing out the congressman doesn't always fix the federal hammer that's hanging over your head because these bureaucracies have gotten so huge and so intertwined and so entangled and so in charge of everything, that, okay, you change out the congressman, but the department of whatever is still there.
Yeah.
And you may put the president may put a different person in charge of the department of whatever, but there's a limit to what they can do because when Congress passes these laws that says we're going to fix this problem by establishing this program, but they don't put into the law the specifics and they just turn it over to the bureaucracy. So you can change, you can change the president, you can change the senator, you can change the congressman, but nothing really changes in the infrastructure of the operation of the government. So maybe that's where the term limits need to be, Linda.
And if they're supposed to be working for us, and this is not what the majority of the people want, it's what they want, well, they're not benefiting those of us who are, in a sense, signing their paycheck.
That's right.
I mean, we supposedly hired them by electing them.
That's right.
Well, we should have a better say, not just when you cast that ballot. I mean, when they're doing something blatantly wrong, we should have the ability to say, hey, wait a minute. We put you all in that office, and you are not doing anything to benefit this country, this state, this city, whatever. You can break it all the way down.
I don't disagree with that, but talk to anybody that's had a big fight with OSHA.
Oh, God.
Talk to anybody that's had a fight with the Labor Department. Talk to anybody that's had a big fight with the IRS.
Yeah.
You can change out the congressman. You can change out the president. You can change out the senators. You can term limit them. You can vote them out. You can get rid of them. But those agencies never go away.
No.
And so people's problems with those agencies continue on. What was the story here I saw on the Fox News? There was a Democrat congressman out of Texas, Democrat, who spoke out very angrily against Biden, and the FBI raided his offices and investigating something that was, they thought was going on. But he spoke out against Biden. Now he's getting investigated because the mechanisms, the government stuff doesn't end. It doesn't change. It doesn't sunset.
That's like a communist country. You have no freedom of speech.
That's right.
You can't say anything because they'll come down on you like hot butter.
That's right.
Well, that is wrong.
I know.
How did we let it get this far?
We kept electing the same people who passed these stupid laws and didn't fight these laws and fight these agencies. And
so people are not educating themselves enough on the people that are running for office to know whether they should or should not vote for them, or somebody's coming along and say, here's $5, pull this lever, fill in this circle. And I know that happens.
Oh, yeah. No, you're exactly right. But at the same time, you have people that say, I don't like that so-and-so is doing something. There ought to be a law against that. And the first thing they do is they call their congressman and said, you need to pass a law to fix this problem instead of dealing with it locally or dealing with it, one-on-one individually or going to your city government or your state government. We all run to the federal government. This needs to be fixed, and the federal government needs to do something about it.
It's just like this small amount of people that has complained about, that statue offends me.
That's right.
And they take it down. Well, you can't erase. You may hide history, but you cannot erase it. It happened. And if you don't have the common sense, which is not out there, the ability or whatever to even learn from what happened 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you're going to do it all again.
Yeah.
And you're going to wonder, well, what happened? How come this didn't work?
Well, we're seeing some of that now. And,
you should have paid attention.
Yeah.
The statues are just works of art. If they didn't offend you 5 years ago, they're not offending you today. And that's
true.
a fact.
That's true.
It's just like you have an argument with somebody. Is it important?
Yeah.
If it's not important and it didn't bother you a week ago or 2 weeks ago, get over it.
Yeah.
Is
the answer term limits? Is the answer term limits, or is the answer going back to at the very young age of the kids when they start going to school, teaching the kids about our representative republic, the role of the federal government, what's in the Constitution, what is supposed to be done by the Constitution, what's supposed to be done by the states.
I think term limits is a start.
Okay.
Because when you go into school and you start teaching these kids, look how long, you've got 18, 20 years before they may even have the inclination that they might want to run for a position.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would have to start, well, they indoctrinate them against, with a bunch of other crap in schools nowadays, but you would have to start at very young when they might be able to absorb some of it.
Yeah.
Fourth grade, third grade, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit of history along in there, and then you get into U.S. history or world history. Some world history is so boring, it's pathetic. But I don't care about the Crimean War. I really don't. But get it closer to home, U.S. history, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Make it interesting, too, because just reading it, my son had a history class.
Mm-hmm.
He was terrified that he was going to be sick someday and miss it because they showed movies
Right.
on the history,
Mm-hmm.
and the teacher made it interesting, so they all absorbed what they were being taught. I had a U.S. history teacher. Oh, my God, he was fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
But he had we never saw movies, but
Yeah.
he was in high school. But the way he taught it, you couldn't help not pay attention.
Yeah.
He was just that good.
Yeah. I had the football coach. Open up book, page 34, read chapter 7.
Oh, no, I had Mr. Caldwell in ninth grade, and it was Southwest history. And that man said, the books are over by the wall. If you want one, that's fine. If you don't, pay attention and take notes, and you'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
I still have my notebook because we drew maps. We took
Yeah.
note. I mean, I couldn't throw it away.
Yeah.
It was there was so much work in it, and it was so good. And when he taught about an Indian war, you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever he talked about, you were there. You could see what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of teachers we need that have a passion to be able to educate them on this history, and then maybe history won't be repeated
No, that's
like
true.
it has been.
That's true.
Or is going to be even worse. It's horrible.
But going back to the original topic, you are a proponent of term limits.
I think so.
As
I
far
think it
down
would-
as city council and county commissioner. Well,
yeah,
county
and
commissioner's
we
kind of like
even
that.
had, Pete Domenici was in Washington for how many years?
Yeah.
Forever. Nobody, and he benefited this state. I
Yeah.
don't know whether he was a Republican or a Democrat.
He
I
was a
don't care.
Republican.
But he worked for the state. He worked to benefit this state.
Mm-hmm.
You never heard anything bad about him. I'm
Yeah.
sure he had, and I know of a couple of skeletons, but no, you never heard anything bad about him.
Yeah.
So, when you have something rare like that, yeah, you'd like to keep them. But okay, so a term limit. Say they're reelected twice,
Okay.
and then they have to lay out for a term.
Right.
And then if they want, they could run again
Mhm.
because they've been out. That I don't have a problem with. I think I really have a problem with being in there as a career.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I
like-
definitely have a problem there. Of course, I think they ought to go back to picking the senators, letting the states pick the senators. That was another constitutional amendment. When the Founding Fathers originally laid it out, the House was the people's house. The people vote every 2 years. That's the people's body of the government. The Senate was the elite snobbery representing the political class, the affluent class. So the states picked the senators. There were 2 from each state. They represented the entire state. And that's why they have the 6-year terms. They weren't subject to being, thrown out or having to go through the reelection process every 2 years. People in the House, you run, you serve a couple of terms, and then you go back and be your plumber or farmer or
Right,
whatever.
right.
But we've gotten so far beyond that. And again, I contend it's because the federal government has gotten so in charge and control of everything that even if you swap out the senators and the congressmen, the bureaucracies remain.
But you shouldn't go into those positions being Joe Blow from being a plumber and come out a multimillionaire.
Well, there's things that can be done to fix that.
You know?
But yes, that happens. It happens
They're
way too
buying
often.
you for your votes.
Yep,
Big
yep.
companies.
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
your bucks.
Oh, yeah. There's
You know?
plenty of that goes on. No question about that.
Yeah.
Hey, clean and beautiful news.
Yes.
Valerie brought your name up today.
Oh, my. Okay.
Do you know what she was asking or talking about?
I have no idea, good, bad, or otherwise.
Recycled art.
Yes, and we are going to do that.
Yeah, that's what she
Yes.
said.
I took a picture of all my... It beats taking notes. You know, you can take a picture of your wall. March 3rd through the 19th
Okay.
at the library.
Okay.
So, you know, we haven't done it for a couple of years because, thank you, we can all blame everything on COVID. But
least for a
literally, the
little
last
while
time
longer.
we had
Yeah.
it in there,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, we set up on Thursday, judged on Friday. I'm not sure if anybody got to see it on Saturday, but Monday the world was closed.
That's right.
So, you know, 5 months later, they said, you called and you want to pick this up? You know, I don't think anybody's...
'Cause
you know,
they were
it
still
was
closed.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it was closed. And then last year it was iffy.
Right.
So, you know, it was like, okay, well, we'll wait until the world is a little more normal,
Yeah.
maybe. So, yeah. This
Now we're
is-
right in the middle of this pandemic of cases.
Oh, yeah. Over 6,000 new ones
every
yesterday.
day. Every day. Hospitalizations up over
It's not-
700.
It's not if you're going to get Omicron, it's when.
Apparently so.
Yes,
That's what we're told.
yes. So after that, on March 26th, we will have a golf scramble.
Oh, okay.
So supposedly, April 4th, adopt a tree. The list of trees this year is pathetic. I'm still trying to decide.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of evergreens. And people, unless you really are wanting to, and are already set up to put in a windbreak, a big windbreak, you know, with a drip line and everything else, people really don't want them and they're not that interested in them.
They want the more decorative trees.
Yes,
Yeah.
a shade, per se. June 17 and 18 will be e-waste. So I don't have a date yet for the Great American Cleanup. It will be this spring. So, but recycled art, here's your chance, people. Get creative, get original, do something fun. There's a, you know, more communities are now having recycled art shows because
So what do
It
you
gives you
start
the
with?
opportunity.
What is the media that you start with to turn into recycled art?
anything.
Anything.
And that's a lousy answer, I realize. But I mean, you can have, I've seen wonderful things made out of pallets.
Okay.
So there's wood. You know, besides firewood, you can chop it up. But furniture, wall hangings. I know it's a pain in the neck to take a pallet apart. I've done it. I had words the entire time, like,
And
how
slivers.
stupid are you, can't you? You know, but some of it, you can get beautiful oak. Some of those pallets are oak. Some of them are exotic woods. They're not all just pine. So, you know, and cut it on the edges if you don't have one of those things that takes out fancy groove nails. No, they're not screws. They're difficult. But
Yeah.
you can get some really good wood and do some really interesting things out of that wood that will not cost you anything for lumber, because pallets are at a... Drive down an
everywhere.
alley, you can find them, I promise you.
That's right.
Or, you know, just tell the transfer station if somebody's bringing in pallets, I would like some.
Yeah.
The feed store over on Ritchie has tons of them. They'll let you have them. That's where we get them for e-waste. And then they really hate it when I bring them back. The ones we haven't used, it says, we gave them to you, we didn't want them back.
That's right.
But, you know, there's lots of places around to...
Get
people are trying to
pallets.
get rid of them,
Yeah,
you know. So, but
that's just one item that you can
yes,
recycle.
old jewelry, ceramics. You know, I've seen broken pottery jewelry at some of these craft shows that are gorgeous. A lot of the old dishes have patterns, and if you cut them or break them just so, line them with copper. You know, it might take a little drop of solder to do something, you know, but you've got... It wasn't cheap when I saw it, so, you know, you can create great things.
Yeah.
People have made wonderful jewelry out of wire, you know, twisting and bending and everything.
Yeah.
Glass. Take old saucers and ashtrays and plates and and stack them and make bird feeders or cake stands. I was trying to think. There's all kinds of cool things that you can do with old stuff. I've seen lamp parts made into beautiful candle holders.
Yeah.
Up at I think it's the Cake on 8 in Cloudcroft. They are a bakery, but it's kind of a gallery in there. They have a lot of artwork. And there's 2 pieces sitting on the walls that are motorcycles. And when you look at them, you think, wow, that's a cool bike. And then you start looking at it, and it's made out of silver spoons.
Oh, wow.
It is so impressive. Whoever thought that up was, really talented. We've had lamps made out of vacuum cleaners. There was one made out of a clarinet that I wanted so bad, but it was the lady that made it. It belonged to her daughter. It had been her musical instrument.
Yeah.
But it was gorgeous. And then Robert Smoot is phenomenal with parts, handles off of faucets and old pipes and gauges and whatever, and can come up with the coolest steampunk lamps.
Okay.
If you're not familiar with steampunk, look it up.
Yep.
Because, and that's not a smart aleck answer. That's just,
That's
it will
the
give
best.
you so many
That's right.
ideas
You're
and
getting
pictures
inspiration.
of what.
Yeah.
Because I cannot explain what, simplified steampunk is. So just look it up. But yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can create. The school kids, one of the classes always, I think it's at Zia, makes shrink-a-dinks. But it's the old, well, they're not old, they're recycled. We used to get salad containers, the plastic, the lids clamp. Well, it's not a number 1 or a number 2 plastic. I think it's a 6 or an 8. Anyhow, those are the kind that they can use. So I have a bag of them at my office waiting for them to come pick them up.
Yeah.
Draw or paint on them really neat, cut them, bake them for a short amount of time, and they shrink up. And the artwork can be phenomenal on them. I mean, some of them we've had, you almost need a magnifying glass to see the artwork. But it is so detailed, and some of the kids they should be professional cartoonists or something.
So is there a application one needs to fill out, or are they just...
if you bring it, we'll just and you can come and pick it up, but you can pick one up when you bring it. So it's more of your information and what the piece is made from.
Okay.
So up to 3 pieces.
And you're going to put them on display on...
I call it it's the 3rd Street Promenade.
Right, in the library. But what's the date, though, that you need to have everything?
Oh, I need to have it on that Thursday.
Okay.
So you're going to make me go back to March.
You can if you want.
That would be, the 10th, the 9th of March.
Okay.
Yeah, so the 10th we would be starting to display. So it would be real nice to have them, a day ahead.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So if you have any questions, folks, if you want to, can I do this or what about that? You can get clarification from Linda. Just reach out to you at Artesia Clean and Beautiful.
And, fortunately, I was talking to somebody at the library yesterday, and they were brand new, so they didn't know anything about this. So I was kind of giving them a rundown, and I said, and they were like, well, what if, or we can't be, I said, we understand, and it's put in the information that is provided with the app. We are not responsible
it's a
if
release
something
form.
happens. Yes, the library is not responsible. But I said, we have been very fortunate, even with, I'll tape a sign to the table and saying, please do not touch the exhibits. And we really haven't ever had anybody bother anything. Something got rearranged one time, but it could have been the wind coming through there,
True.
because they were on paper cards, all the little shrinky-dinks. But for anything to disappear or broke or messed with,
Yep.
and you can always vote for your favorite, so,
That's right.
it's kind of cool.
Best way to get a hold of you?
748. Okay, you have to dial the 575.
That's
we
right.
all have to get used to that. I had to scream at my phone the other day because I forgot. 748-3192. And please, I'm in and out, so leave a message. Let it ring long enough to where you get the machine, and
Leave a message.
I'll call you back.
Linda, as always, thank you.
You're welcome.
And enjoy that blueberry muffin from McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, I've been sitting here kind of giving it the side eye, watching it.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.